I believe the election would be the first step toward bringing liquor stores and beer joints into our area, and I'm opposed to bringing those joints into our area, and therefore I'm opposed to the first step.
Today marked the Senate Committee's first meeting. It took only 15 minutes for senators to decide they would hear testimony on any kind of insurance, including no fault. This isn't exactly the way Governor Smith issued the call for this special session, but no committeeman seemed too concerned. Former Insurance Commissioner Larry Teever, whose appointment was rejected by the Senate this summer, was called to explain the bill, and he was immediately cross-examined by Senator Oscar Mauzy, a co-sponsor of the legislation. Mauzy wants to expand the proposed law to place a limit on how much insurance companies can charge.
What is your background and qualifications for that position?
Well, I have office administration, and I have experience in the Army, and I got a master.
You have a master's degree? In what field?
Education.
Education. What is the duty, as you see it, your duty? I understand basically it'll be administrative, is that correct?
Right.
Do you see any problems? Do you foresee any problems as director of the project?
No, I don't foresee any problems.
Well, there is the legal process of condemnation, which all of us would not like. We would feel that this would be somewhat of a failure on the part of the rail ownership and ourselves to realize that we have to work together.
Children's lives. For instance, one child of this thing will...
I've read quotes where you were really tickled to death with your first college game and surprised that you got to play so much, right, Wayne?
Really, I was, because, for a freshman, it's kind of, it's just unreal, for you to be able to play as much as I did, and rush for 100 yards, and I didn't think of, I would do something like that, and it was just, something else.
Did playing before the home folks help you, do you think?
If anything, it made me a little bit more nervous than I would if I had went to Florida last week or something,
Well, what's your reaction to your first game of college ball? How much difference between the South Oak Cliff opponent and the Southwest Conference opponent in the defensive area?
They hit a lot harder. They really do.
Well, you're going to continue to run through people as you do. This won't affect you, do you think?
I'm going to try to change a little bit and run around a little bit more than run through them.
And your mother doesn't like you to jump so much. Is this correct?
No, she really don't. She gets kind of nervous when I be jumping, but then, too, that's what it takes to get that extra yard or two, and that's what I want to do.
I didn't get the opportunity to see you play much in high school. Was that 50-yard run indicative of what you did throughout your high school career?
No, it was a little bit different because I got real tired running at 50 yards, and I usually didn't get that tired during high school.
My main assignment Saturday will be to return kickoffs and punts, and I'll be playing right halfback. Mainly, I like to play right halfback because I feel I have more what you call east and west movement, But kickoffs, I like to return kickoffs mainly because the guys on the specialty teams really, if you look at it hard enough, they give a lot of effort. And punts, if I can break one, that's what I'll be trying to do.
Do you have a little deal going with Morris over at SMU?
Well, not really. Wayne and I are good friends, but I'm just going to go out and try to play the best I can, And if I feel that I play the best I can, I believe I'll come out on top.
What about opening game jitters? Are you experiencing any of that?
Yeah, I've been going through it all week. My stomach's been a little upset, That's natural for a freshman going to the first varsity game, but I believe I'll work out just fine.
Well, opening ball game, you're always afraid about those illegal motion penalties, fumbles, maybe a bobble a snap from center on fourth down, this type of thing on punting situations. I think those early season ball games, people seem to have the jitters, and it's always nice to get it behind you, especially if you can come out with a win. But I'm just nervous about playing any opponent at any time, really.
Of course, you've got a building team this year. How do you assess them now as you go into your opening game?
It's hard to assess our football team because we've been playing against ourselves for so long. Time you take in spring practice and then this long preseason fall practice, all this comparison has been made against ourselves, and really at this stage I'm kind of confused. I'm anxious for outside competition to actually see how we do stack up. I really don't know. I honestly don't. I don't have an opinion. I'm looking forward to the contest, yet at the same time I'm nervous about how our team's going to play.
Have you gotten to the point yet where you've got quarterback confidence?
I've always had confidence in Alan Lowry. I'm an Alan Lowry man. I would have confidence in him if he were going to run a clothing store or an insurance company or work in a bank or play quarterback or play defensive halfback. I just have confidence in him as a person, and I think Alan will do okay.
People think of adult education as basic training for those who cannot read or write. The definition is true, but a little limited. Here at the old Crozier Technical and Dallas High Schools, now called the Adult Learning Center, there are as many reasons for adult education as there are people. Take, for instance, Mrs. Martha Wynn. She's a 32-year-old divorcee with 4 children. She has 15 years office experience as a bookkeeper and types 75 words per minute. Mrs. Wynn is in adult education because she cannot get a good job making enough money to support herself and her children. The reason? She does not have a high school diploma.
They have told me that that is the only thing that is stopping me. That's the only thing that stops me with civil service. The first requirement, and it's listed in the paper, is to have a high school diploma. They won't even test you for a job, regardless of the experience you have, unless you have a high school diploma.
Jesse Hudson is a 59-year-old barber. He's what you may call a self-made man. Mr. Hudson has owned his own barber shop and has put a daughter through college. Mr. Hudson says he makes a good living and doesn't need a high school diploma. He's where he wants to be. Mr. Hudson is in night school for the satisfaction of being able to hang his diploma in a prominent place in his home.
I'm just going because I want a high school education and the self-satisfaction, and I enjoy learning.
Mrs. Wynn and Mr. Hudson are only 2 of the 500 students presently enrolled here. Throughout the Dallas School District, some 4,000 adults are involved in basic adult and vocational education. Fees for instruction are small, however, some of the courses are offered free. Improvement in economic and employment opportunities, and maybe most importantly, self-esteem. For Channel 8 News on the Move, this is June Gray.
Well, within 10 years' time, it should make inroads in it, and I forecast that there'll be only the best of the stations will survive. There'll be less television stations on the air than there are today.
How are the people going to benefit by this particular CATV approach?
They will benefit in three ways. They will live a richer, more fuller, and or an easier life, because so much they'll have access to so many more things that they do not have access to now.
I've been invited to Red Channel, and 2 times, several years ago.
Why didn't you go?
Well, we're not allowed to go. Our government. Our government.
If you had an opportunity to go now, would you?
Oh, yes, they have a wonderful conservatory there, and some very fine musicians, so I understand.
Committee, Senators Mauzy, Harris, and Kennard. Nobody from this area is on the House Committee. Testimony there from Insurance Board member Durwood Manford will try to show that the Texas system is among the best. Manford's figures show that we pay among the lowest in the nation. Committeemen can therefore look forward to long hours of trying to untangle this mass of rates, payments, and schedules before they'll have a solid proposal. That includes scheduled testimony next week from the Insurance Commissioner of California. Phil Reynolds, Channel 8 News on the Move, in the committee hearing room, Austin.
Sale of his television station and hanging on to his CATV interests, which basically surprised a lot of people, I think, was predicated upon this inside information.
It didn't surprise me. I know lots of broadcasters, if they had the choice, and who owned CATV, if given the choice, would sell their broadcast station and hang on to CATV because it is the wave of the future.